Hi there, my name is Mannat and I'm going to be showing you the bouncing bubbles demonstration. Disclaimer: this person is a trained scientist who has all the required personal protective equipment necessary. Please be careful if attempting at home. Hi there, so here I have a solution of soap, which is water and soap, and then here I have a solution of dish soap and sugar. I have two separate bubble wands in which I'll be able to blow bubbles, and I have one hand without a woolen glove and one hand with a woolen glove. So what I'm going to do is take the bubble wand where I got the soap solution, and I'm going to blow bubbles from it. Here's our bubble, and then you can tell that it clearly pops in my hand when it drops. One more time. But you can clearly see that bubble pops inside my hand. Now I'm going to take the bubble wand from the solution of soap and sugar. I'm going to blow the same kind of bubble, and I'm going to be able to, the part here, I'm going to be able to catch it with my woolen wand, with my woolen glove. So as you can clearly see, the bubble does not pop inside my hand, and in fact I can play with it with my woolen glove and it just bounces around. And I can do all sorts of tricks with it. It does pop eventually, but it stays as a bubble a lot longer than if there were no sugar inside this. I'll show you one more time. Again, a really big bubble, and it clearly bounces inside my hand on the woolen glove. So I'm going to blow a bubble one more time, only this time I'm going to use a sugar and soap solution and instead catch it with my hand without the woolen glove. See, so the moment it touches my hand, it just disappears and bursts. So it pops the moment it touches my hand. The reason why that is because the woolen glove in my other hand acts as a barrier against the skin that has oil and dirt on my other hand without the woolen glove. Now I'm going to take the bubble wand from the soap solution, which does not have the sugar, and try to see what happens if I catch it with my woolen glove hand. So the woolen glove hand is still able to catch this bubble and bounce it around and play with it. That is, again, because the sugar adds extra bonding, but then even with the woolen glove there, it adds an extra barrier against the bubble popping in my hand, because my hand without the woolen glove has dirt and then oils on it that will break the barrier of the bubble, and so it pops here. But if I hold it with the woolen glove, then it won't pop as immediately.
Bubbles form through a property called surface tension. Surface tension is a property of water molecules that allows them to stay together and resist forces that try to separate them. Usually, water on its own forms little to no bubbles because the surface tension between the molecules is very high. We see this property in water when it rains, and leaves will float on the surface of water instead of sinking because the leaf's flat surface does not have enough force to break the surface tension. However, when we add the soap to the water, the soap works to reduce the surface tension between the water molecules, and so it reduces their ability to stay together. As a result, there are more soap molecules between the water molecules that increase the distance between the water molecules, allowing for some air to also fill the distance. The result is what we call a bubble. It's a sphere with two layers of dish soap, with one layer of water molecules in between the two layers, and inside the sphere is air. When someone touches this bubble, they break the surface tension completely as it was already low before. Now, the water molecules can't hold themselves together anymore, and so the bubble pops. The bubbles can also pop quickly just floating in the dry air because the water molecules will slowly evaporate. However, if we add some sugar, the bubbles are stronger and don't pop for some time, even when they are touched. This is because the added sugar prevents the bubble from popping by forming weak bonds between the water molecules. The bonds strengthen the surface tension between the water molecules and allow them to stay together for longer. With the added sugar, they resist being broken down by touch and also evaporate less, so the bubble stays floating for longer and can even bounce if you hold it with a glove. You should wear gloves when touching bubbles with sugar, since our hands and skin have dirt and oil that can disrupt the thin, fragile layer of water molecules. They could make the bubble pop even if it has sugar added to it for strength. If we think about this, adding no sugar and wearing no gloves would mean that the bubble pops immediately, since its surface tension breaks very easily. Instead, if we add sugar and still don't wear gloves, then the bubble will last a little longer before it pops. This is because the sugar definitely adds more bonds, but it's still vulnerable to the dirt and oil on our hands, and so it can still pop after some time. So, if we add sugar and wear gloves, then the bubble lasts the longest because we have gotten rid of the things that make it most likely to pop, which would be very weak bonds without the sugar and dirt and soil that can irritate the bubble's surface and cause it to pop. Finally, when the bubble finally pops with the sugar in it, the remaining debris of water, sugar, and dish soap is much more visible than if the bubble only had dish soap and water. This is to show that the added sugar makes the whole solution more concentrated with bigger molecules, which include sugar and dish soap molecules combined, than water and dish soap on their own. The purpose of this demonstration is to show that sugar can strengthen the bonds between water molecules that make them stick together for longer and resist tension. Other substances such as glycerin and cornstarch can also improve the surface tension of water. If you reduce the surface tension, the molecules lose their ability to stay together, and so they form bubbles that are separated by air and dish soap that reduces that surface tension. If you add sugar or glycerin and increase the surface tension when they form a bubble, they are less likely to pop because the water molecules gain some strength from stronger bonds, and so the bubble stays intact, even if some of the water molecules evaporate or are disrupted.
Thank you for watching the Bouncing Bubbles demonstration. Be sure to enjoy your time for the rest of Fun Week.